Welcome back to Engineer Math Academy. In our previous lesson, we discussed solving quadratic equations using factorization method. Today, we are looking at how to use completing the square method to solve quadratic equations. And at the end of this lesson, you will be able to confidently solve quadratic equations using completing the square method. So let's go into the first example. In this example, the problem is using completing the square method. Solve x squared plus 6x plus 5 equal to 0. So let's find the solution. Solution: x squared plus 6x plus 5 equal to 0. So what is the first step using this method? The first step, as it is here, is to move the constant to the right hand side of the equation. The constant here is plus 5. We need to move it to the right hand side of the equation. Remember, every equation has the left hand side and the right hand side. In our quadratic equation here, on the right hand side we have 0. So we need to move the constant plus 5 to the right hand side of the equation. So we have x squared plus 6s equal to 0 minus 5, and that gives us x squared plus 6x equal to minus 5. Remember, step 1, move the constants to the right hand side of the equation, and we've just done that. The second step, we are adding the square of half the coefficient of x to both sides. In this expression, we have 6x. So the coefficient of x is 6, and we are adding half the square of half the coefficient of x. That means we need to take half of that 6. Half of 6 is 6 divided by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 3 is the half of the coefficient of x. But we are not only interested in the half of the coefficient, we are interested in the square of that. Square of half the coefficient of x. The square of that is 3 squared. So we are adding that to both sides of the equation. So we now have x squared plus 6x plus 3 squared equal to minus 5 plus 3 squared. Remember, we add to both sides, to the left hand side and to the right hand side. Having done this, we notice 2 squares on the left hand side, x squared and 3 squared. At this point, we combine the squares together. That is, we say x plus 3 squared. What did you notice? We have left out the middle term. Yes, 6x has to go. So we now have x plus 3 squared. Instead of repeating x squared and 3 squared, we combine them together and square them in a bracket, equal to minus 5 plus 3 squared. That is, 3 times 3 is 9. We say x plus 3 squared is equal to 4. Minus 5 plus 9 is 4. At this point, we need to get rid of this square. And to do that, we take the square root of both sides. That is, square root of x plus 3 squared and the square root of 4. Whenever we are taking the square root of a number, we normally add this sign, plus or minus. So the square root, we cancel out the square, leaving us with x plus 3 on the left hand side. This will be equal to plus or minus. What is the square root of 4? Is 2. This means plus 2 times plus 2 will give us 4. Or minus 2 times minus 2 will give us 4. So let's continue. We now have x equal to, we move this 3 to the right hand side. Now plus or minus 2 minus 3. So x equal to, we can now split this. Instead of saying plus or minus 2, we can now separate them by saying plus 2 minus 3 plus 2 minus 3, or minus 2 minus 3. So x is equal to plus 2 minus 3 taking the positive 2, or minus 2 minus 3 taking the negative 2. That gives us x being plus 2 minus 3 is minus 1, or minus 2 minus 3 is minus 5. Therefore, x is equal to minus 1 or minus 5. And these are the roots of this quadratic equation. We will take one more example to get the steps, the method impressed on your mind. So let's go to example 2. In this second example, we have 2x squared minus x minus 6 equal to 0. So let's go straight to the solution. Solution. We have 2x squared minus x minus 6 equal to 0. Remember, the first step is to move the constant to the right hand side of the equation. So we do that. 2x squared minus x equal to 0 plus 6. That is 2x squared minus x is equal to 6. Having moved the constant from the left hand side of the equation to the right hand side of the equation, when using the completing the square method, we must reduce the coefficient of x squared to 1. How do we do that? Very simple. If we have 2x squared, we divide it by 2. 2 we cancel 2, then we have x squared. In this case, the coefficient of x squared is 1. If you have 3x squared, divide with 3 and it becomes x squared. So to reduce 2x squared to x squared, where the coefficient will be 1, we divide all terms by 2. That is, we have 2x squared divided by 2 minus x divided by 2 equal to 6 divided by 2. 2 here we cancel 2. We now have x squared minus x over 2, since we cannot divide this. What about this? 2 we cancel 6 and we have 3 equal to 3. Don't be disturbed with x over 2. It means the coefficient of x is a fraction. This is the point where we add the square of half the coefficient of x to both sides of the equation. So we are adding the square of half the coefficient of x to both sides of the equation. So in this equation, what is the coefficient of x? The coefficient of x is minus 1 over 2. Always take note of the negative signs. Show respect to negative signs, otherwise you will work in vain. When you ignore the negative signs in any equation or expression in mathematics, you're already out of point. So the coefficient of x is minus 1 over 2 because of the negative sign here. It's minus 1 over 2. And we're looking for half of that, half the coefficient of x. So we say divide by 2. That is minus 1 over 2 divided by 2. When we are dividing fractions, we change this sign. Minus 1 over 2 times 1 over 2. When we change this sign, it becomes a multiplication sign, and this will give us minus 1 over 4. That is half the coefficient of x, but we also want the square of that. So we say minus 1 over 4 squared. What do we do with that? We add it to both sides of the equation. We add that minus 1 over 4 squared to both sides of the equation. That is x squared minus x over 2 plus minus 1 over 4 squared equal to 3 plus minus 1 over 4 squared. If you look carefully, on the left hand side of the equation, we now have two squares. We have x squared and we have minus 1 over 4 squared. So what do? We bring them together. Let's do that. X minus 1 over 4 squared. X minus 1 over 4 squared. That will be equal to 3 plus minus 1 squared is 1. Minus 1 times minus 1 is 1. Then 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. So this will give us x minus 1 over 4 squared is equal to, let's make this fractional by saying 3 over 1 plus 1 over 16. This will give us 16 as the LCM, 48 plus 1. Since this is SS2 maths, I expect you to know how to add fractions. Let's continue. We have now x minus 1 over 4 squared equal to 48 plus 1, 49 over 16. So what do? It is now time to eliminate this square sign by taking the square roots of both sides. So we take the square roots, that is x minus 1 over 4 squared. We take the square root equals to the square root of 49 over 16, and this is plus or minus. So the square here, we cancel out this square root. That will give us x minus 1 over 4 remaining, and this will be equal to, what is the square root of 49? That is 7, and the square root of 16 is 4. So we have plus or minus 7 over 4, plus or minus 7 over 4. To get x now, we move minus 1 over 4 to the right hand side of the equation. That is, x is equal to plus or minus 7 over 4 plus 1 over 4. So x is equal to 7 over 4 plus 1 over 4, or minus 7 over 4 plus 1 over 4. X is equal to 7 over 4 plus 1 over 4 will give us 4 as the LCM, 7 plus 1. Or on the other side, we have 4 minus 7 plus 1. So x will be 7 plus 1 is 8 over 4. Or minus 7 plus 1 is minus 6 over 4. We continue. X, 4 will divide this and give us 2 is equals to 2, or minus 3 over 2. Therefore, x is equal to 2 or minus 3 over 2. So that is it. Solving quadratic equations using completing the square method. With these two examples, you should be confident enough to solve any quadratic equation using this method. If you got value in this lesson, please like and share the video. Also, subscribe so that you don't miss our next lesson. I am Engineer Max. I will see you in the next class.